Hey everyone, I'm sorry. I was again having some issues with my getting on. For some reason, they've got a beta testing thing going on, and I am obviously having an issue with it. So I am going to go ahead and attempt to share on Facebook. Just give me 1 minute so that I can do. Okay. And I am going to share this on one of my pages. And hopefully I will be able to get some people on. Okay, I'm going to copy this link. And how I'm going to do that? I am going to go right here and I am going to post the link. The real problem I'm having is the mere fact that instead of Eastern Standard Time, they had it scheduled for Green Mountain Time, which was causing me an issue. And that's why it wasn't going through the way it was supposed to. So from now on, I'm going to wait until I'm ready to go live before posting. I'm not going to pre-schedule anymore. Oh, my Lord. My computer is just as slow as I am today. Okay, then I'm going to go here. And see if I can get anything posted here. Wow, just things are just challenging today. But you know what? If we didn't have challenges, we wouldn't be able to get through our lives without knowing the difference between good and bad, right? All right. This is my last stop. Okay. Let's see if I can get. Wow, why am I having such a hard time? Come on. But anyway, we talked last time about the high arcana cards, and we got into the Fool and the Magician. And when we talk about the Fool, this is the young, like the young person who's just coming into their own and just learning life. And as the he grows older, he goes through stages and meets certain aspects of life that everyone does. And that is, we're going to talk a little bit of that today. And we're also going to take a good look at all the cards. and just wants to be a pain. So, yes. Okay, I am just going to go ahead and go with it. I'm going to turn the light on. All right. So, like I was saying, we were talking about the Fool and how the Fool goes on his journey and he meets certain people. Well, the first person he meets is the magician, which is somebody who is able to control, and that's something we start off with as a child. We learn how to manipulate things in order to be able to do what we want to do. This is part of that. I think I have the chat open. So if anyone wants to go ahead and post anything, I am able to go ahead and see what you've got for questions. Okay. So it should be a live chat. So that'll be good. I did find something interesting. I did want to share about the tarot. It says they really don't know where the tarot came from. Okay. What they do know is that the cards were used in Italy in about the 15th century. And it was actually a game. And then it moved into a more elaborate use of fortune telling. And then it, you know, and in 1450 or shortly after, it was one of the earliest and most complete. The Vincento, I can't pronounce the last name of the person who created the deck that they were using then. It says later in the 18th and 19th century, the cards were discovered in a number of influential scholars of the occult. The gentlemen were fascinated with the tarot and recognized the images on the cards were more powerful than the simple game would suggest. The true history of tarot, by connecting the cards to Egypt, mysteries, Hermetic philosophies, and Kabbalah, alchemy, and other magical systems, which is, like I had said, they incorporate all of these things into these cards, and that's why we see it as symbolisms. And it continued in the 20th century when the tarot was incorporated into the practice of several secret societies, including the Order of the Dawn, the Golden Dawn, which I really don't know much about, but I have heard of it. And it says, okay, the Fool's Journey, the metaphor of the journey through life. Okay, each major arcana card stands for the stage of the journey, the experience that a person must incorporate to realize his wholeness. So, and then he goes about, meets the magician, and that's where we were as of last week. We were talking about, we ended on the magician. So I'm going to go ahead and find my sheet on the next card, which is the High Priestess. I am going to go ahead and let you see it. Okay. Oops, I don't know if you can see it very well. Okay. If you notice, her gown goes right into the water. She's holding a scroll. Well, all these pieces of her card have a symbolic meaning. The two pillars, that's Boaz and Jacob. That's the pillars for Solomon's temple. And that's what that is. So we're going to go ahead and go through the image. Ooh. The black and white is the entryway of light and dark. That's why Boaz is black and Jacob is white. And like I said, they're from Solomon's temple. The entrance thereof, the tapestry with the pomegranates, that is the lifeblood, the feminine secrets. It's also a Persephone's journey into the underworld. She was tricked. She only ate, I think, 3 pomegranate seeds. But when you were down in Hades, if you accepted food, you were bound to be staying there. And poor Persephone ended up down and ended up being the bride of Hades. You know, she was the queen of Hades. So it was definitely a story behind all this. The rolled up scroll is secrets and knowledge. It's all that has been experienced rather than thought. So it's mind. You would do it with your heart, not with your head, basically, is what this is about. The equal arm cross that she wears around her neck. I don't know if you can see that very well. She's got it around her neck. That is the meeting of spiritual and material, the material world as it is today. Okay? And then there's the triple goddess headpiece on her head. And that's for the moon and its mysteries, cycles, changeability, its nature. It's the subconscious. The crescent moon at her feet is the moon and its mysteries, again, the cycles, the changeability, the nature of the moon, and the subconscious. Her dress becomes the river, like I had pointed out earlier. See, these are the things I notice when I first see the card. And this changing from being a dress to water, it talks about the changeability of nature. It's the future being ever changing. Okay. Now, with astrological sign, it is a moon. Obviously, we see the moon a lot in this picture. And the element in this picture is water. Makes sense, doesn't it? And the key words used with this particular card, when it's upright, it's wisdom, it's understanding, it's secrets. It's also insight and the subconscious. And when it's reversed, which I really don't use it if I don't have to, unless other cards suggest that it might be, upside down, is hidden agendas. It's conceit. It's shallow knowledge. So this is what this card is about. I'm hoping to get my papers all in order and maybe photocopy them and post them on my site so that you can take it and print it if you'd like. But there's so much to each individual card, but I just want to show you the symbolisms of each card and what they mean at this time. We will get in depth with how when you put them out in a reading into a spread, that you're able to navigate from one card to another, actually telling the story. So we're going to go ahead and go with the Empress. I think of her as being a very pretty card. It's just so majestic. And when I see her and I see all the grass that's growing up, the waterfall is falling, she seems to be very peaceful. It's, you know, to me, it's a really wonderful card if I were to look at it. So the lush green is fertility, it's abundance, it's in the wheat behind her, that's behind her growing right here. It's nurturing and abundance. The Venus, where is that? The Venus, which is right here on her staff, it stands for love, values, feminine energy. Okay, so she is really like Mother Nature to me. Her white gown with the pomegranates is purity, it's love, it's fertility. And the 12-star crown on her head is the Queen of Heaven and the cycles of time. She's a powerful lady. And when I see her, I know there's some intuition or something that needs to be going on. Okay, and we're going to go ahead, and the astrological of this is Venus, and her element is Earth, obviously, as you can see, even though I would think it'd be heaven, but it's not. And the key words with this card is fertility, fulfillment, mother figure, it's productivity, it's pregnancy. It's either yours or somebody else's pregnancy if it shows up in a reading. Or you can soon expect somebody to say, I'm pregnant. And that's how it would be. And in reverse, it's everything the opposite of that. So it's infertility. Okay? It's not feeling fulfilled in what you're doing. It's not feeling connected as a mother, a nurturing being. It's like somehow it's missing. Okay, we're going to go with the next card, which is the Emperor. Now, I'm going to do it this way, see if I can get the glare. He is looking directly at you. There's power in the way he looks at somebody. His chair is square, and he sits with authority. So he has authority within him. He may be an individual that is very strong in his ideas. So why don't we see what the symbols mean in this card. Okay, the ram's heads, which are on his chair, his throne, is associated with the astrological sign of Aries. Aries, astrological sign, is very direct. It's fearless, but it can also be aggressive, selfish. His armor is red, and his armor and red tunic is willingness to defend and protect. So he's a fighter. He will protect whatever belongs to him. So this is what he looks like when you look at him in a reading. Okay. The cube throne is a structure. It is also stability, because if something is built in square, you think of house and things like that, they're solid. They are solid, and it's made of stone, so it's not going to go anywhere very easily. So there's where the stability in the structure. And the orb and wand is balance, needs secrecy, and reassurance available. So if you found this card, it would be telling you, you know, if you're having a difficult time right now, it might be time to move forward and go and see somebody that might have a little more knowledge than you do. And that's where he comes in. I don't think I have the astrological sign for him on this sheet. I will, though, next time. Now, the Hierophant. For most people who are religious, will see him as like a priest. And even as a priest, he's a teacher. And here are his students. So this is what that card is like when you first see it. So you're able to actually look at it and know this is a teacher-student card. Either you're going to need to achieve some more education, or you're going to be the one that's teaching. All right, we're going to go ahead and look at the paper and see what it says about the symbols. Okay, the symbols, again, we've got the two pillars. Okay, and it's the path between heaven and earth in this card. The people at the bottom are the students. They assist the leader, which obviously is this one. And they are also the followers. It's a give and take, teach and learn. The crossed keys at the bottom of his feet are the keys of understanding both theory and practice. Okay, those are the keys to unlock those two. And the petal, his gown and his crown, or the staff in his crown, is spiritual authority. His hand gesture is blessing, higher ideals, shaping earthly experiences. His astrological sign is Taurus, with the element of earth. And this is how we view this card. And I hope you're being entertained by my decoder in the corner there. Now we come to another card. And a lot of people, when they see the card, they kind of worry. It's the Lover's card. And the first thing, it's sex. I'm sorry, that's what it is. It's all about that. But the symbols in the card, the woman is the feminine, the intuitive nature. The man is the masculine, and he's the logical nature. The nudity is that nothing is hidden. The apple tree is the knowledge of good and evil. It's also choices. The snake is temptation. The leaves on fire is the passion and will. Raphael, the archangel, it's healing, power of God and love. The sun is knowledge and clarity. The key words. The key words to this is choices, communication, togetherness, relationships, love, and sexuality. But if it's in reverse, it's disharmony, it's suspicion, it's jealousy, it's obsession, it's infidelity. That's when you see that card in reverse when you look into a reading. Okay? But like I say, I don't normally would come to it in a reverse because I do all my cards upright. But if the Three of Swords should show up within that reading, I might think that the card needs to be reversed. The next card is the Chariot. This one here is to a very pretty card. If you notice, there's no reins. He is not controlling it. The only tool he has is his own mind. So we're going to go ahead and look at the symbolisms. And the starry canopy that's over the Chariot is cycles of time. And it's also in the Empress card that we saw just a few minutes ago. The wand is will. We saw that too with the Magician. And then the lingam in yoni. Where is it? It's right. I hope you can see it. It's that red in the middle of the Chariot. It's a phallic symbol, actually, of both the male and female genitals and copulation. And that's what that is. I don't know if you know anything about the Hinduism religion or Hindu religion. It's the lingam is Shiva or Shiva, and the yoni, which is the woman, is Shakti. So that's where that comes from. The squareness of the Chariot, again, like we saw with the Emperor, means stability and structure. The black and white Sphinx, but here in this, it's, I don't know. He looks rather blue, but that means between light and dark. And we had seen that before also with the High Priestess. But it is also teaching and learning, like we saw with the Hierophant. The crescent moon above of the Chariot is the mysteries, the cycles of the moon. It's the changeable nature. It's subconscious. So if you notice, we see a lot of symbols that go from one card to the next. And as the Fool journeys through life, he takes some of that with him through his journey. And those lessons, once learned, begin to change over time. This astrological sign is Cancer. It is the element of water. Okay. So we've got that one down. I'm sorry, I just need to have a drink. If I'm going too fast, please let me know. The next card is, oh, hold on. The next card is Strength. If you notice, she's not forcing the lion. She is just holding its head, has a hand underneath the jaw. She's not forcing him to close his mouth. She just doesn't have him in a headlock. So, and there's the infinity sign above her head. So it's about eternity, being able to be nurturing and being able to be comforting. So we're going to look at the symbols. The white gown is purity. Anything that's white is usually associated with purity. The woman is virtue. She's the feminine energy. She and the lion is animal instincts. It's fears, it's ego, it's shadow. And when I say shadow, I'm talking about the part of us that we have a tendency not to let others see. And as you can see, that's what it's like with the lion. Maybe sometimes we can be like the lion and we start having outbursts of emotion, whether it's crying, whether it's laughing, well, you know, where it just seems to burst out of you from nowhere. This is how this card that's what it means to me when I'm doing this. When I see this card, it's like, okay, part of our nature needs to be looked at. Okay, oops, let me see if I can get it back. The red roses are desire. I don't see red roses. Oh, it's on her gown, I'm sorry. And the sign above her head, the infinity sign, is the flow of energy. Okay. Her astrological sign in this card is Leo. Obviously, with the lion, it would be Leo. And the element is fire. And the key words to this card is strength, gentleness. It's also courage. It's compassion. It's assurance. It's discipline. It's also the heart. And when it's reversed, it's force, it's fear, it's weakness, it's the lack of discipline. It's also control or patience. So when we see this card in there, either we need to control something, or we have too much of it, or we might need to incorporate it. The next card, I feel as though sometimes it's misunderstood. It's what I call the Hermit. Well, that's the name of the card. The card is called the Hermit. And as you can see, he's standing on a mountain. It looks as though it's snowing. He is alone. His lantern is lit. It looks pretty bleak. Okay, his dark cloak is mystery, isolation. His staff is will, accumulated knowledge. His lantern is inner guidance, an inner divinity. His 6-pointed star is union of water and fire. The mountaintop is a journey. It's the big picture. It's a point of view. The winter is old age, experience, wisdom. The astrological sign is Virgo. I'm Virgo. And the sign is Earth, just as my sign is Earth. So this is the card that I see often for those who are either the light in somebody else's darkness, or they are the one who stands and waits for others to come to because they hold the knowledge that is needed. A lot of people who are counselors, I see, have this card. So that's what that one means. I know we haven't had a whole lot of time together today, but I still have to stop at 7. I'm sorry. But we will get back to the cards next week. It will be the rest of the High Arcana cards. And like I said, I am not going to post the link until I'm live, because for whatever reason, the beta program is not working. So I have to really take a good look at it and find out what it is that I need to do in order to be able to access the time, change the time from Green Mountain time to Eastern Standard Time, which was the reason why I was having so much trouble. Oh, come on, focus. Focus, thank you. But I'm hoping that you guys are having a good time, at least learning something that I am teaching about the cards. I hope that you have purchased a deck, because most of the symbols on the deck are the same, even though some of the characters are different. The Rider-Waite deck is the closest one to my deck. I have actually showed you a picture of what the name of the deck was in the last video. So if you haven't purchased a deck yet, I suggest your first deck be either the Rider-Waite or the classic tarot, so that you can actually visually hold the card in your hand while I do the descriptions, and you'll be able to see the symbols yourself. And you can work at home with it. These are the things that helped me when I was doing it as a beginner, when I was 11 years old. Yeah, I was 11 years old and doing it 47 years. It's been a long time. So I want to let you know that part of what I'm saying is coming from a book, because it's the symbols that were put on these cards were written and illustrated by somebody with that intent. And it's funny because a lot of times the same symbols mean the same thing to me when I see it. But I see a story as each card falls in a spread. And this is how I tell the story. So as we get further along in this, we'll be able to actually start laying out some cards after we do the minor arcana and all of the cards that are the oh my Lord. Has anyone else done this? Let's go totally blank. court cards. There we go. And we'll get into the court cards. So after that, we'll start doing some spreads. Alrighty. And next week, I'm also going to give you a little bit of a story of how he got from the fool got from there to the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, the story behind that, I'm going to compile that for you so you have a little story to go with it. So I will see you next Wednesday. Again, it should be 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And please like and share this video with others so that I can build an audience. And I hope to see you next week. And many blessings. And see you Wednesday.